Do you believe in the existence of extraterrestrials?
Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on where and when you're watching this broadcast. I'm Thomas Fessler, my friends, and this is Disclosure Tonight. Happy Saturday, January 11th. Just 10 more days until we get the truth about those drones that have been flying over the east coast of the United States. Maybe, just maybe, we might hear about the drones that have been going over our military bases for way too long. On that note, friends, let me go ahead and jump across to, where am I going here? Into my studio. All right, here we go, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of Disclosure Tonight. Hopefully everyone is having a great Saturday. It's 44 degrees and cloudy, usual winter in the Pacific Northwest. On that note, let's go ahead and strike up the drums and welcome in our audience. How about that? Let's go ahead and take a look and see who the heck we have out there. All right, let me bring up the list. 3, 2, 1. There we go. Let's welcome in Alexei Novitsky. Good to see you, Alexei. You should call in sometimes. Andy W's here along with Anne Marie. We've got Azrael Aries and Craig Smith. I see Daniel and Daryl and Digger Dog. The D's are made it through already. We've got Ed Zachary, Eric Roth, and the Gurus. Craig Smith just popped up. How about that? Let's welcome Ed Zachary, Eric Roth, and the Gurus. I'm probably repeating myself. Ernie is here along with Felston Greyhawk. Good to see you, my friend. Well, he's got the longest name now, shorts for short attention spans. There we go, my friend. Firefly is here along with Frank Cathell. We've got Gene Hess, Geraldine Dorazio. Gray Hair Discoveries popped in along with Hemigod. Vroom, vroom, my friend. Let's welcome in I Am Kron. Haven't seen you in a while, Kron. Good to see you. We've got Jan here along with J-Cat. Jeff Carrero is here. Good to see you, Jeff. We've got John Mooner, John Pilgrim, Johnny UFOs, J Brand 4 is with us, along with Cap K, Kathy, and Kelly Broden, those piercing blue eyes. And she really does have piercing blue eyes. Trust me. I'll bring up her picture when I get a chance. Kenny's in the house. Good to see you, Kenny. King Bull's here along with Clipper. Larry Sandell. We've got Lit here. Little's here. We got Lit and Little. How about that? We've also got Lon. Lucky 81 Jewel popped in along with Man, Maritime Unprepared, Megan Betts, Michael Turtleman. Yeah, you were one of the first guys here to say hello, Michael. Good to see you, my friend. Mr. Joey B is here along with Miss Medieval 66. We've got Nancy Kuzmano, Nicholas Urich. I see Niles guy. He's one of our new mods. Watch out. El Kabongi over the head. Let's welcome in Paul Damon, Paul Enzo, Pete Wilson, Ray Gee, Rough Reddy, along with Sal Pacino, maybe? I think it's close enough. Let's welcome in Sam, Scott Fletcher, Shinobi One Kenobi. We got Snarf McGrew, Sanjia Hicks. Good to see you, Sanjia. Welcome to the meeting today. Not meeting. Welcome to the show today. Space Coast Flights is here along with Super Unknown. Have I not had enough coffee? No, I haven't. Toxic Revengers here along with Ty Grail. We've got Truffle and MushroomHunter.com. Ooh, I'll have to hang out with this guy soon. Truth Seekers here along with Yankee 58. Yergi's around along with F5 Twister. How about that? We've got a great audience for everybody today. But it's not just about the audience and me. It's also sometimes about our friends in the back, because you know what? They ask phenomenal questions, I tell you. Who am I talking about? Let's go ahead and welcome in. Let me bring up the list and check it twice and see who we have in the back today. First friend I want to welcome in is our dear friend coming from the great state of Florida. Let's welcome in Alice W. How's it going, Alice?
Hey, Thomas. It's going great. Can't wait for the show.
Thank you for coming in. We've got some of your videos. Going to go ahead and show those today from one of your friends. Thank you for sending them across.
That's pretty cool. Thank you.
See, I told you there's a reason for you to be here. Yeah, also want to welcome in. Our next friend is coming to us all the way from Bristol, United Kingdom, where it's kind of cold right now. Let's welcome in Andy W. How's it going, Andy?
Hey, Thomas, yeah, not too bad. Bit chilly, but yeah, it's winter. What do you expect?
Yeah, it's true. But usually the weather in the UK and the Pacific Northwest is, pretty much tied together. But I hope what you're getting is not a sense of what we're getting soon. But I have an idea that may be happening. Thanks for coming in today, Andy.
Maybe. My pleasure, mate.
Our next friend is new to the back. He stopped in yesterday, and he's back for a repeat performance. Let's welcome in our next friend, Daniel. How's it going, Daniel?
Oh, it's outstanding. Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. I'll keep my questions to the minimum.
Oh, absolutely. The questions are always great to have, my friend. Also, let's welcome in our next friend, Mr. Daryl Zernick. How's it going, Daryl?
Going great, Thomas. Looking forward to this afternoon's show. Thank you very much for everything you guys are doing over there.
Thank you, and thank you for sending across that video about what the UFO getting seen in Fort Lauderdale. That'll be one of the first stories we'll be covering today.
Absolutely, you bet.
All right, setting our skies on the Bighorn State. Let's welcome in our next friend, Ed Brown. How's it going, Ed?
It's going real well. Good being with you this evening. Looking forward to the show.
Now, if I'm correct, that's recliner number 4 we've seen, or 3?
That's number 4.
Number 4. All right.
2 more to go.
That looks really comfy, though. A lot more comfy than what I'm sitting on right now, my friend. Thanks for coming in. Our next friend is coming to us from the great state of Canada. We've actually the great country of Canada. Let's welcome in FreezerMan71. How's it going, FreezerMan?
Hello, Thomas. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you as well. And also, since we're all the way up in Canada, let's welcome in Michael Sukloff. How's it going, Michael?
It's going good, Thomas. It's going to be a good show today.
I certainly hope so, my friend. I certainly hope so. Let's welcome in our next friend, coming to us from the great state of Wisconsin. How's it going, Laura?
Going great, Thomas. I say we all buy you a recliner.
Well, I've got a good one here, but kind of like Ed's. Mine's probably going on close to 20 years. How old is my neck implants? Almost 20 years old at this point, so yeah. Great idea, Laura. Thank you very much. Our next friend is also coming to us from the United Kingdom, and you know what? He was up all night in the back chat. Let's welcome in Lord McCormick. How's it going, Lord McCormick?
All right, guys, and the DT family, it's good to be with you this evening. Yeah, it's going good, man. Feeling it a bit today, but I'm looking forward to a great show. Thanks for let me jump in.
Actually, espresso is going to be your best friend, I think, today.
Yeah, I've got a big pot of coffee, a bit of Mo working in the background, brother.
There you go, my friend. Thanks for coming around. Our next guest, we picked him up along when we were doing some reporting on a train wreck that happened in Ohio. Let's welcome in Matt Ramone. How's it going, Matt?
Great, Thomas. It's beautiful Saturday, snows everywhere, and I'm inside, thank God.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming in today, Matt. And our last friend in the back that we've got here today is coming us from Oregon. How's it going, Neil?
Hey, Thomas. It's good to be here. Good to be in the back chat, where the conversation often never ends.
Never ends. It continues, just like the conversation about the non-human intelligence, my friend. Oh, go ahead.
I was just agreeing, indeed.
Absolutely.
Unless you want me to say hi for Nick again.
No, that's okay. Nick's not here right now.
Okay.
I'm surprised, Nick. Where the heck are you, my friend? On that note, we welcomed all of our friends in the back. Now to welcome my compadre, my co-host, my if you want to call it, my producer in the back, our executive, if you want to call it, ace reporter. Let's welcome in Mike, Disclosure. How the hell are you?
Oh, I'm doing well. And it looks like we're going to have a very interesting conversation and show for our international audience today on Saturday. A lot to cover, a lot to talk about.
Oh, you better believe it, my friend. Well, the first story, while this is a recap of a lot of things that have happened this week, our first story, first couple stories or several stories are absolutely new, and we're going to be focusing the start of the show today on a bunch of UFO sightings that have been happening. Our first one happened in Fort Lauderdale, where a flight crew spotted something strange in the sky. In other words, they saw a UFO. You know, Mike, we've been seeing UFOs being reported by crews from airliners on an increasingly more frequent basis. Do you think it's because they're more, if you want to call it, at ease with reporting, or do you think there's just more things happening in the sky?
I think it's a combination of both. I believe that there's been a lot of activity which is spurring a lot of these sightings. And as a result of that, now you have people coming forward who normally would remain silent from commercial air traffic that is speaking publicly about it. They're taking cell phone videos, they're putting it up on the internet. And we also have been covering here on the show that there has been a huge increase in activity on UAP for the past 2 years running. It seems to be going up, not going down. So it's a combination of both of those things. But there's going to be, I think, more that we're going to hear about very shortly with the new administration coming in. Yeah. And we're going to start to see a lot of this activity has been going up and will continue to increase.
So in other words, the activity's been going on, but on a lot of different levels, we've been dealing with an executive branch cover-up.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, come on, look at the drones that we covered. The executive branch claims they have no clue. Look at what Admiral John Kirby was saying. We're imagining it. It's manned aircraft. So, I mean, what's been going on with this administration is unfathomable. The lights are on, but it's like nobody's home at the White House.
Yeah, I know. Mr. Kirby is more of a clown than he is someone telling us the truth these days, isn't he?
It's unfortunate because he was a member of the military, and we would expect more integrity and honor from somebody who served at the level he did as a flag officer. So it's disappointing, to be honest with you.
It is, but even Lou Elizondo has been brazen enough to go ahead and call him out. So good on him. Also,
yes, and Lou does not do that. So, that means a lot coming from Lou.
Lou doesn't generally say anything negative about anybody, but he was really vocal about Kirby lying to the public, I believe. Didn't he say that? Did he use the word lying or not telling the truth? Same thing.
He was just really calling into question the integrity of Admiral Kirby for good reason.
Yeah.
But that's not what he does. No matter, even if somebody is attacking him, he doesn't have anything bad to say. He says nothing.
Even on private phone calls, for the most part.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
at least I'll refer. Yeah, absolutely. Never says anything negative about anybody on phone calls, private calls, or in public. It's just not what he does. But I think he's really concerned about the American public in this, and he's really, if you want to call it, aiming to try and get that UAP czar position in our federal government.
In the incoming administration, if he's able to do that, we might, hear about more things than we have in the past with previous administrations.
There could be a great collection of people up there. We could have Lou Elizondo. Potentially, we could also have David Grush up there. Maybe we could get Carl Nell or Jay Stratton or some others. It will just have to see how many people that they're going to want to put into that particular new office that is sadly needed from our executive branch, because as we've been saying here for the longest time, it's not a DOD cover-up. It's a cover-up from the executive branch. It's not just, it's the DOD, it's the Department of Energy, it's all the three-letter intelligence agencies. They're all in cahoots. And who are they in cahoots with? The executive branch, because they all report up through the executive branch.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what's been primarily covering this up since Roswell back in 1947.
Oh, yeah.
From the executive branch. And it hasn't changed.
Nope.
Hopefully we'll see a difference now moving forward after all this time.
Well, fingers crossed on that one, Mike. It looks like we've got a couple hands up in the back. Let me call on these, on Alice and then Andy. And then we'll get on to our first video clip. Alice, go ahead.
I think it's getting harder to ignore the UAPs because they're showing up in live news broadcasts.
True.
So I think that's interesting. It's getting a little harder to deny.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, Alice, absolutely. Andy, your thoughts? Your hand is up, my friend.
Yeah, obviously we're getting an awful lot more reports coming in of sightings of objects, either misidentified prosaic or actual unknowns. Obviously we've had this spat of UFO orbs, these drones, whatever people like to call them, over the east coast of America. I think now it's actually touching on ordinary people who would normally have their eyes on their phones as they're walking around. It's hit a far wider audience. It shows in this show. It took years to get to 8,000 subscribers. In what, the space of 2 months, we've gone to.
Oh, no. In the space of about 3 weeks, we more than doubled the number of subscribers we had in Disclosure tonight.
So and all the lovely people who've joined us, recently, we've got our old friends in chat, and we've got an awful lot of new friends now.
Yeah.
It's actually, it's actually touched the nerve with people. It's now encroaching on their actual existence before they might have put it aside. And I think it'll only keep going as the word spreads. More people are looking to the skies. More people are getting their noses out of their phones. So we'll I'm sure we'll be getting a lot more reports coming up in the next year.
I certainly hope so, because again, we're getting beyond the truth embargo than what we've had coming from the federal government of the United States. And if anybody has been covering it up, clearly it's been a U.S.-led operation, because we've heard many times throughout the years that people in, if you want to call it, the United States has flexed its muscles against the UK, against Australia, against other countries to go ahead and button their upper lip and, don't talk about any of this stuff.
Yeah, and you've got your new administration coming up in, what, a week? Just around about a week? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, interesting times.
Yeah, I think so.
They might keep their lips shut again.
Yeah.
But, you got to hope for something.
Yeah.
It's going to be more than we've got so far.
Yeah. Talking about the relations between the United States and United Kingdom for a bit, there's some interesting tweets coming out of information leaking out of the future Trump administration that the special relationship between the United Kingdom and the United States could be at risk, specifically because of election interference on the behest of Keir Starmer.
Well, yeah, whether or not you like the guy, or I'm going to stay politically neutral. My opinions, Thomas.
Andy, open up. We know you're on YouTube. You might say something.
No, I'm gonna say, I don't know whether it was his knowledge that these people came over from our country, yours, that were going and helping out the defeated party.
Oh yeah.
So I would think your president-elect would be quite upset and quite remiss to actually do something. So
exactly. Seems that Starmer these days is embroiled in a lot of big scandals, more scandals than I've ever seen any prime minister ever involved in, as far as I can think of, even going back to Margaret Thatcher's time.
He's even beaten your up and coming president, isn't he? Every day for us.
That's true.
It
did take a lot to get beyond what Hunter did. Yes, that's right, Molga.
Yeah.
Good girl.
Yeah, we shall wait and see. Yeah, I think ordinary people like myself. I'm extremely ordinary. We don't have an axe to grind with our American friends. I love all you guys out there.
We love you as well. Even like in China, it's not the people of China that's the problem. It's the government. Yeah. Exactly. Thank you, Andy. Appreciate that. Last person with their hand up, Ed Brown. You have your hand up, my friend.
I sure do, Thomas. But I got to get us back across the pond to talk about what's going on in the States for just a second. But Andy brought up a good point. We're seeing less of this in the news, at least in American news, but it's because of what else is going on in the news, I think. They've sort of lost interest in UFOs, with the sentencing of Trump yesterday, and of course with all the wildfires that are going on. They've moved on. But his good point was it's still showing up on X and on other social media, where individuals are using their own cameras, capturing these things, and then sending them in. So I don't think the amount of sightings of either drones or UFOs has decreased. It's just we're not seeing them on the network television as much as we used to.
Yeah, absolutely. Great point, Ed. On that note, I know our audience is waiting to see this video. So am I. This is talking. Okay, Mocha, stop it. This is where, oh, yeah, we got you. Flight crew spots something strange in the sky. Again, this is a flight crew flying out of Florida. Let's go ahead and get this back to the beginning of it and get this started. Here we go, folks.
Remember the drone hysteria in New Jersey last month? We have a local story that pretty much tops that one. A crew on board a private jet spotted something high in the sky, and they shot this video of it, and they have no idea what they saw that night. Ari Odzer is joining us now from Fort Lauderdale with a first-hand account of this very bizarre sighting, Ari.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And there was definitely something in the sky that night. It was way too high to be a drone, moving way too fast and erratically to be a weather balloon. And the flight attendant who shot the video says several other aircraft reported seeing the same thing. The aerospace world is full of flying machines that we all recognize. But sometimes people see things in the sky that defy explanation.
It started as white, and then it just got green and almost like an electric, some type of energy around it.
Cassandra Martin is a flight attendant for Surjet, a private air service. On the night of December 23rd, she says she and two pilots were flying back to Fort Lauderdale in an empty jet high over the Bahamas when air traffic control sent a message.
When all of a sudden I heard traffic control say, "We have a foreign object, can you please identify?" I looked to the left and pilot saw 3 objects, I only saw 1. And I grabbed my phone and I just pressed it to the window to see if I can get a video of what the object was. I don't know what it was. And then I zoomed in as much as the phone allowed me to. And the object was white. And then it turned slightly green, almost kind of like an electric field around it of some sort. And it stayed with us for about 45 minutes, and then we didn't see it again. And we were about 45,000 feet, and it was way above us.
What was the chatter like in the cockpit between you, the co-pilot, and the pilot as to what you were seeing?
I think we were astonished, and it was something that you really can't explain, but I don't have the qualifications to know what that is.
Having seen her video, what do you make of it?
Well, I think the video is compelling.
Brian Bender is a defense expert who works with a group founded by military pilots called Americans for Safe Aerospace. Any idea what that could be?
So, this video and this testimony rhymes a lot with a number of cases that we heard from military pilots going back even 10 or 15 years. And that is these orbs, or in some cases they call them tic-tacs. They were more sort of oblong in shape, but flying at very high altitudes, but then also being able to maneuver in ways that don't seem to make a lot of sense to us, at least as we know physics.
Was it a little bit eerie? Yes, because again, we were pretty high up, and whatever we saw was even higher than us, and it had the capability just to zigzag and change color. So that was a little, daunting to say the least. But it was also something fascinating that I was able to see and capture with my phone.
And she'll never forget that. Brian Bender, by the way, says the Pentagon has an office which investigates these sightings. And he says it's imperative for national security and for aviation safety that they figure out what these things are. We're live at Executive Airport. Ari Odzer, NBC 6 News.
How about that? So interesting about the things that are going on in the skies around us. Let me get back into the studio on this one. Here we go on this. Continue. There we go. I'm trying to get up. No, I can't play that one. Let me shut this down. There are some interesting pieces in that video I want to get back to really quick. First of all, they were talking about the overall look and feel of the particular object that was happening in the sky. Let me go ahead and go back on here. Saying the object was initially white and then turned green and stayed green in color. As far as I'm aware, planes don't put off green lights all the time. You'll have a red light, you'll have a green light, they'll flash to white every so often. This clearly isn't a plane. Secondly, they were up around 30,000 feet, and this was about 40,000 feet. It was clearly above them. Well, let's also go ahead and say on this one, clearly not a drone, Clearly not another plane. The most interesting thing is it stayed with the plane for about 30 to 40 minutes and then broke off. Another interesting piece. We've been hearing these different situations go on before this one. We had an issue that happened in the Oregon coast, heading towards Seattle-Tacoma International Airport in Washington State. As you were flying, they ran into a red object that was moving away and had behavior unlike anything that they've ever seen. Daryl, you have your hand up, my friend?
Yeah, just was going to throw out here that they made a point, or she made a point of saying that there were other planes that had spotted this thing, and the tower was asking them, or the air traffic control was asking them, do you see this?
Right.
So it's going to be one of those things that somebody, if not myself, is going to go back and find the ATC audio of that and just listen back at that particular time flying over the Bahamas.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, but if it's flying over the Bahamas, my gosh, that's down in the Devil's Triangle, isn't it?
Near there, yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thanks for that insight, Daryl. And if you can find that ATC stuff, we'd love to have you bring it to us and cover it on the show.
All right. Well, I'll get started.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Matt Ramon, you have your hand up?
I found it interesting that she said that the pilots saw 3 different things, and she was only able to see the one.
Well, remember, if she's looking out the side of her aircraft, she only has so much visibility, where the pilots have the front and side views. Be interesting to see if the pilots try to capture anything. We haven't seen any of that footage yet, but it might exist. You never know. Andy, your hand is up.
Yeah, I'm sure many of the viewers out there are see aircraft coming in at night, landing and everything. If you see them from a distance, if they head on to you, the landing lights appear like one big light.
Right.
But you say, yeah, this turned to green. Now, there's only one green light that I know of that's on an aircraft, and that's on the tip of, I think it's the left wing, starboard, if I remember right. Somebody can put me right on that. So, yeah, and that's only a small flash. I think it's flashing. So you've got your red and your green on
See a lull in that wind
to denote the side of the aircraft. So, they're not visible from very far away. You've almost got to be practically underneath the thing to see it. So that's quite interesting.
Yeah, definitely. It clearly does. Clearly sounds like we're not dealing with a regular terrestrial aircraft here. If anything, someone could say it's Venus, but it's not Venus because it's changing colors. Someone could say it's another satellite, but satellites don't turn from white to green, do they, Andy?
No, and I do find the Venus, way of debunking things really quite preposterous. We know it tracks through the sky. It's pretty obvious. If you look out and see it, it's been clear skies the last few nights here. Venus has been, absolutely almost as bright as the moon, but it tracks. It tracks through the sky like it always has done, and so we don't exist. Probably, still will. So.
Yeah.
For people not to actually recognize Venus, they must have been living in a cave for the rest, the entirety of their life.
Exactly.
I really do find that it's making these people who report things look like complete idiots, which is totally wrong. So yeah, laughable almost.
Absolutely. I appreciate that insight, Andy. It's, you know what? I've talked with Mike about this many times in the past, and we're tracking the occurrences. We're getting really good footage coming from airliners, and we are seeing an increase of this. So it's good news to see that our pilots are alerting their flight crew. People are getting videos of this, and they're doing their best to bring out citizen journalism because it's necessary, because our federal government, for the most part, hasn't been doing its job to keep the public informed. Now, if I could, the last person with their hand up here, Lord McCormick.
Oh, yeah, just briefly. It'd be nice if we could hear, and maybe we will in the future, from the pilots themselves. It looks like it's a private charter airline.
Yeah.
And you do wonder if those guys had their own devices on there. I mean, when they're up and flying, the planes practically fly themselves. So, and I think this goes to the fact that there's still a stigma for pilots, and until there's some sort of truth from a sick, like a place, safe space for them to come forward, and we need that in place, because I believe that lots of pilots, civil, military, they see things a lot, and they just don't come forward because of the stigma that's attached. Thanks for taking me out.
Yeah, absolutely. The stigma is there. It's something that's real that pilots deal with on a regular basis, and flight crews. At least we're beyond the point of people losing their jobs for going ahead and talking about this. And I appreciate the courageousness of the flight attendant who was on there, and potentially the pilots, if the truth can come out. And I can't wait to see if Daryl can go ahead and find some air traffic control information on that. And now, really quick here, if I could, Lord McCormick, I want to bring this up. Tia Maria, you're next. If you have videos, actually, Tia, go ahead, and I'll bring up this next piece. Yeah.
Hi, happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday, my dear lady.
I just wanted to say that seeing her come out with that is a really big deal. I have not seen a flight attendant ever come out like that and be interviewed and her face all over. I think that shows a lot that this is starting to break through to the top tiers,
Right.
like people are sick of hiding.
Well, people
So
used
I
to be
just wanted
made
to say
fun
that.
of. They would call them crazy if they reported this kind of stuff. And now we've got the cameras. Everybody is equipped with a phone these days with somewhat decent cameras. Good for close-up photos, long-distance photos, not so much. But, everybody has an ability to go ahead and record the truth of what's happening in the skies, whether it's real or not. It's good to go ahead. And this one I'm going to say is absolutely real.
Oh yeah, and just and the fact that she came out and she's not afraid, and the pilots aren't afraid for her to come out.
Yeah,
it says a lot. It really does.
Even the airlines, they're right there by the jet that they're flying and everything. So a good plug for that charter airlines. Hey, if we see something in the sky, we're going to report it.
Yeah, and it makes them come out in the forefront too, because it makes them leaders, believe it or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm happy to see it.
Oh, same here, Tia. Thank you very much. I appreciate that comment. Now, if I could, if you're a viewer of Disclosure tonight, you want to send us a video of something that's out there, you're finding the video is too large to go ahead and send it across, the best platform we can go ahead and recommend for you to go ahead and send your stuff across. Let me bring this up right here. There's a platform called, make it larger, here we go, WeTransfer.com. That's WeTransfer.com. You don't have to create an account. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is literally accept the terms and conditions. You can say you want to go ahead and add a file. It'll bring up a listing of your directories. If I just choose one of the title cards here for this, if you you can send up to 2 gigabytes at one time. You're going to send it to like ThomasFesslerChannel@gmail.com. And your email address, if you put in your email address, it'll send you a message to let you know that it's been sent. So if I go Thomas@.com, and what is the title? It says the name of the file. Check out this UFO video. Whatever went on, and you tell it to transfer. It'll go ahead and upload the videos. It'll go ahead and get there. We don't need to go ahead and create a verified account, and that's it. So actually this one, to ensure we send it to all users, insert the code we sent to you at disclosuretonight.com. Let me get to that really quick here. Bring it across. It just wants to do a quick verification. Let me get to WeTransfer. My code in this one is 384392. Enter the verification code, and boom. You only have to do that once. And there it goes. It starts transferring, and the file is sent. Simple enough. The reason we recommend WeTransfer is they don't re-encode their videos. They don't re-encode images that are sent to. So if you want to send something across with all the data there, you can send it during this. But just to be safe, it's always good to go ahead and zip those files up into one particular file you can send across to us. So there we go. Now, I've got another video here. Coming to us from Fox 11 LA coverage. Let me go ahead and let me get rid of the WeTransfer stuff. I don't need that anymore. Let's bring this up now. while there was a broadcast going on Fox News, they actually went and there was a let me get this out of here as well for now. Oh, that one goes away, that goes there. Let me copy this one down. All right. There was something that shot across the sky that people said, oh my God, what the hell was that? Let me go ahead and play this. Then I'll pause it. And then we'll go back and look at what we just saw and look at it frame by frame. And we'll analyze it and see where audience takes us on this one. So let's go ahead and play it.
See a lull in that wind activity, and it began as early as today. And, you know, we were able to get that small little break. And
so right there, we're already seeing one plane flying along.
Break.
There we go. Let's zoom out back again.
Just recently starting to, come on the brink of being expired. We are going to see those winds picking up.
Now, did you see it? Let me back it up real quick. Here's the object that we're seeing. Let me bring it back all the way to when it's first going across, flying across the fire zone. And we see it flying across the overall skies. Bring this around here now that we've got it zoomed in. And there we go. We've got an object that is, cylindrical in shape, rather longer than it is wider. At this particular view, we could almost say, wow, this almost looks like a traditional flying saucer going along over the overall view. Let me zoom out a little bit as we're getting towards the edge of the screen, and there it went. So, interesting video. Like Tia was saying, I believe earlier, that these are things that we're starting to see going through it now. Here's the kicker. It looks like a UFO. It looks real. But when people on Twitter double-checked flight radar at the time this object was flying across, there was actually a small plane that was actually making this movement at this particular place. So even if you have a video that looks really real, you have to go ahead and check in on flightradar24.com. Flight Radar also has a particular app that you can go ahead and download and check this out. But, to the layman's eye, until you check Flight Radar, it really looks like a UFO. Yeah, I see you squinting on this, looking into it. What are your thoughts?
At first, it looks great, right? But it makes sense. It's over the fires, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's probably a plane dropping water, and
it actually looks like it's a private jet. Let's see if I can find the link I have on this. Let me go to the original story that I have up here on Twitter. It was caught on live TV coming to us. Let me get this across a little bit here. This is initially posted by Wow. This is actually going back to 528 Vibes, who caught this on live TV. Granted, there is an upscaled version that's in 4K, not worth looking at it. Now we've got a screenshot of what we were just looking at, and people are saying, wow, it looks like a saucer potentially. But if you get into it a little bit further down, earlier today, there were, let me get to maybe if I go in, is it this post? And then I scroll down on the video analysis site, and somewhere in here, here we go.
There you go.
It's not a precise ID, but the aircraft registration of 3NT matches some of the characteristics of the flyover of the flyover of the
You can literally see the bottom stripe on it.
Right, exactly. Let me go ahead and bring up this image here so we can zoom into it and move around. Red is never easy to see, especially for our friends who are colorblind. That's why a lot of times I will avoid using red in our title cards for the text. But what does it say here? Protrusion by the wing mount area is over here. You can see it kicking out a little bit to the left of what they're saying. You can see the wing over there. You've got this one, wings not seen, must be dark if present, right? A raised thin area in their rear, black underside, white top. And there we go.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
There is the object. So, right. So you have to go ahead and there are a lot of things we can see in the sky, Tia, that look like they could be a UFO, but it really takes time. And there are a lot of people out there who have that time, thank God, to get in and try and figure out what are you actually seeing. It's not like we want to take UFO sightings and say, oh my God, no, it's not real. Because when we see stuff like going over Florida, absolutely real. When we see something, when there's a question of things going on and there's details that explain what we're seeing, that's why we need to go ahead and take a look and understand what could be going on.
Yeah, and it literally weeds out what's real and what's not.
Right.
And we need that,
Right.
more than ever.
And people say, at least Elon Musk is saying that citizen journalism is where it's at. This is the true power of citizen journalism.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we have to hold each other accountable, whether, even if it looks good, it doesn't mean that what you're seeing is what you think you're seeing. You have to double and triple check.
Okay. Really quick, just to back me up. See? Piercing blue eyes. Right, Tia? Kelly
Absolutely. Yep.
I knew I was going to be able to find a place where I saw her popping the stuff up. Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate you sharing your wonderful, beautiful picture of yourself and your stuff. So, yeah, again, we don't want to go ahead and call everything not a UFO. We're not debunkers. We're truth seekers here. Well, no, God, I can't say that. We are people who are looking for the truth. We don't want to believe. We want the facts. And these facts line up really well. Lord McCormick, how are you?
Oh yeah, Thomas. You've ruined my day, man. When I saw the video this afternoon, I kind of thought, okay, this looks quite interesting.
Yeah.
And now you've broken it down. And like Tia said, it's important that we look at everything and analyze everything, and you guys take the time to break these things down, because we can now put that into the sort of like explained box, and we can move on. It's good work.
Well, the thing is, we'll turn from just us looking, Lord McCormick, with myself and Mike with a couple sets of eyes. We have 631 people watching the show. 1,300 people have watched it already tonight. That gives us a huge amount of people who are being educated on what to look for. Just don't look at the initial post that's there. If it's limiting another one, look at the post and look what people are saying below. A lot of people are going to jump into it and buy it line, hook, and sinker, but you just have to have a discerning eye.
100%.
Yeah.
Like I said before, we got to. It's time to decide what's the wheat and what's the chaff.
Yeah. And, non-human intelligence, I'm not buying that explanation at all. That's fine. You don't have to buy it, but at least we've got an idea of potentially what it could be. Now, Jan is saying, how about that other fix clip? Which fix clip, Jan? I don't know which one you're talking about. So we'll get into this one. All right. And our next piece we've got, Andy, go ahead.
Just backing you up on how the more people you've got looking at something, the better chance of either you get people agreeing or disagreeing. And many of you will know I'm a mailman. My job is a postman. Okay, so we now and again this will link in. We occasionally get an item, a letter or a parcel or something with the handwriting that's really bad on it, and you look at it and it's like a spider's crawled across it. Now we hand it out to, hand it around the group, and we get a consensus of where this thing is going to go. So, it sort of breaks down to that. One person will look at it one way and see one thing. And, but when you get a group of people, half a dozen upwards, then that changes the whole perspective on what you're actually looking at. Yeah. So, we've got so many viewers in the chat, and all these people are now seeing these images coming out on the horrible things that are happening over with the fires and things that people are spotting things. But yeah, you take that object that you're seeing on the footage you've got there. Yeah. If 600 people are looking at it, well, you're going to get 600 people. You tend to take a consensus of the majority of what they're saying it could be.
Right.
So yeah, it works really well, I think.
And while what's going on in California is a travesty, don't forget we had all of the people in Georgia and South Carolina and North Carolina that all lost their homes as well. And, you know, it wasn't just a fire coming through and destroying everything, but leaving all the utilities and everything intact. There were entire towns just washed away by the torrent water that was going through the area.
Yeah, you know, we've got a friend Matt. You know, he went through a harrowing situation. You know, he's got his hand up. But yeah, you know, my heart bleeds for these people. You know, yeah, makes me very fortunate to be in the UK. Really, yeah.
At least for some things right now.
But for some things, but yeah, my heart absolutely bleeds for anybody who's going through all this terrible with you know, thankfully only a few lives have been lost. It's you know, I'm reading at the moment as sort of 11 people. That's 11 lives too many, really. You know, end of the day, these were loved ones. You know, so you know, they'll never get back. You know, your possessions are your possessions. Yes, some of them have got sort of personal. You know, if they're family heirlooms or whatever, your photos or you know, their memories, they can never be got back, but everything else is replaceable. So, you know, yeah.
Exactly, Andy. Thank you for those heartfelt views on this. Now, we got Matt has his hand up, and while Matt has his hand up, I'm going to go ahead and get a survey put together because I think our audience needs a survey on this one to figure out where they stand. Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, and to touch on that a little bit, Andy, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how the people come together in Los Angeles and California and all these affected areas. But the biggest fear right now is what the insurance companies are going to end up doing to these people and how we're going to have to reach out and bring them into different areas of the country to facilitate them, you know. But it's just interesting to find out all the information that's slowly coming out. Now, does anybody have an indefinite answer as to where this all started?
No. They haven't figured out where this initially. Actually, there was a video that came down showing a plane that was landing at LAX, and they could see the fire starting in the distance. But there's been no proof or anything came forward, Matt, to say what actually started these horrible fires.
Yeah, just everybody keep your thoughts and prayers and what have you on the people out there. And if you live nearby, reach out and do whatever you can, because that's what it really counts.
Exactly. If we can here, folks, I've got a survey I'm bringing up for audience right now. Let's go ahead and bring this up, and let me find the sound effects, get that the logo action pulsing sound effect. All right, folks, let's go ahead and say, what is our audience saying right now? The UFO video in LA fires. It's a plane or it's a UFO. I know some people saying we're not going to believe it. Some people are saying I am going to believe it. Hey, Google, set a timer for 1 minute, please.
1 minute. Starting.
All right, we're going to go ahead and take this and put it up there for 1 minute. We got 55 seconds left with a bunch of people, 648 people watching the show, 94 votes in so far. So far, overwhelmingly, our audience is saying it's a plane more than they're saying it's a UFO, a 60-40 split with just 40 seconds left, folks. Come on, get your vote in, cast your vote. Let's hear what you have to say. We're still at a 60-40 split with just 30 seconds left to go. We're almost there, friends. Again, 58-42. We're getting close. More people are saying that it's a UFO, but clearly we've got 20 seconds left in this 43-57. There's not going to be enough time for people who are saying that it's a UFO to outtake those people who are saying it's actually a plane with just 8 seconds left. Here we go for 3, 2, 1, 0. Let me take a screenshot of that, bring it up, and I am going to end the poll. Unlike a lot of UFO channels. Thank you, Mocha. Good girl. Hold on. Oh, you want to come say hi to the audience? Oh, come here. You want a hug? Oh, good girl. They don't know. All right, there we go. So our audience has spoken. 56% of our audience said yes, it is definitely a plane. 44%. It's close, within 12%, one or the other, but clearly the planes have it on that one. And we're not trying to go ahead and spur you one way or the other. We're just trying to find the facts that are out there and bring the information available to our audience, because it would be wrong for us to go ahead and just take that video and just say, hey, you know what we're dealing with here? Look what it is. It's a UFO. We're not into the hype. We're more into trying to find the facts for our audience on that one. On that note, let me go ahead and see where we're at. All right. It was requested by Jan to bring up another video that we showed last night on the show. This is yet another video being recorded from Fox News, of which, of course, I'm going to have to go ahead and put the fair use up there, because apparently Fox Broadcasting does not know what fair use means. Trust me, I'm still fighting with them. All right, let's go ahead and get to this one. Let me go ahead and play this one. This is a clip talking about the Eaton fire that was from Fox News that Jan wanted us to bring up. We're going to go ahead and show it, and as it's flying, there it goes. We've got some kind of an object moving along at a speed that's clearly visible to the eye, but based on the camera, based on the settings, based on how the CCD is set up to capture more things that are darker than lighter, we're seeing a trail going behind the object as it's moving across the screen. You can see that it's going down, it's going up, and it's hard to tell what it is, but potentially this could be a plane that is actually out there fighting the fires in LA, swooping down to go ahead and drop some fire retardant material as we lose it into the smoke. So although it looks ominous, it clearly is something that could be a plane, because there are fires going in this area and planes are going to go ahead and drop stuff. And I agree with you, Craig Smith. It's not enough to determine on this one. Some people think it could be a UFO. It's hard to tell clearly on this one. Thomas Fox is owned by who? I lost that one. Yes, we know it's owned by Rupert Murdoch. But again, this is just Fox News covering something from one of their roof cams to try and see what's going on. So I'll let the audience go ahead and try and figure out what they're actually saying now. And our next piece, this is the one I want to show. Or is it this one? I've got a video from Nancy that one of her friends in her neighborhood was taking last night. Does that sum it up? Do you want to set this up for us, Alice? I
was wondering who Nancy was.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I got a text message last night that said, "Call me immediately." So this is a friend that lives about 6 miles away. He's outside a lot because he used to smoke, and he's familiar with the skies because he was out there all the time. And he was really excited about this. He called me. He thought he was seeing orbs. I don't think it picked up real well with his camera, but I know the one is Venus. Somebody was talking about Venus. But he said there were about 20, like a small army up there, but it's cloudy. So
right. We've got one object that's close to the moon. That could be Venus.
Right?
Venus, because it's relatively bright in the sky. But the objects that we're seeing, if I go ahead back to the start of this video, let me just go ahead and play this clip in full so everyone can go ahead and watch it without us trying to dissect it. Here we go, folks.
There it is. There's one. Are you there? Disappeared again.
There's one up here that he's trying to see. Let me go ahead and bring it up. And all the objects that we're seeing are all flying in the same direction. They're going south to north. And there's one up here by Venus. Let me zoom out again a bit. He's in a...
There
you
it
can
is.
see them blinking in and out.
Yes.
Some of the other ones.
Right. Now, some of the blinking in or out you might be seeing is because there is a lot of clouds and stuff in the area, that it's actually going ahead and the atmosphere causes things that are solid, like just like to see stars twinkling. Well, you get that same effect with things up in the sky.
Okay.
Go ahead and play this.
The way he was reacting, it seems like something he hadn't seen before.
Right. Absolutely. He's watching that one going across. As the cloud cover gets a little bit darker, we're going to see this thing probably disappear, potentially into the clouds. And then he's going to look and see he's got another object moving in the sky in the same direction, the trajectory as the other ones. We've got that one going along, and then we've got another one
up there, right? There's another one.
Goes down over there.
There's another one. There's another one.
There's another one over here. And potentially what we could be looking at is a bunch of different craft in the sky. If these were UFOs, I wouldn't call them as an orb. They look as an orb because we're seeing something that is so far away up in the sky. We're actually just seeing it going ahead and moving. So I'd call this a good old-fashioned UAP, but we're not seeing it do anything, any of the 5 observables. We're not seeing it going ahead and hovering and changing direction. We're not seeing hovering in place. We're not seeing it moving along and accelerate beyond speeds that we can actually go beyond. But it's clearly there's something up here that he's looking at. Andy W., your hand is up.
Yeah, the only issue I have with this is, the speed that the clouds are actually moving at. To me, unfortunately, it looks more like a star, but it's actually static, and the clouds are actually moving, giving it the impression of it actually being, that it's actually moving in the sky. I'm willing to be proved completely and utterly wrong on this. I've been out when it's a semi-overcast sky, and the clouds are moving fast, and the stars, when you see them through the clouds, do appear as though they're actually moving quite quickly in the sky.
I have plenty of satellites going over here, and Starlink is putting up more and more satellites on a regular basis in their constellation. Amazon's putting up satellites in their constellation, so I just need to go ahead and take a look at what we're actually seeing, throw it in the bucket as unknown. But considering we've got a bunch of objects all up in the sky and they're all moving in a regular motion, it's something that's noteworthy.
Yeah, I'm not willing to discount it. We've got so much junk up in space. We've got so many satellites now. It's anything that's a high level, where it's positioned, whether it's the satellite or it's something unusual, it's going to be getting harder and harder to actually work out what we're actually seeing. I'm happy to be proved wrong with this, but I personally just don't really see any movement in the sky of the purported objects.
Absolutely, Andy. I appreciate that thought pattern. I've got another video queued up ready to go here. Tia Maria, you have your hand up?
Yep. See, I'm on the other side on this one. Then Andy, I think there's something to these ones because there's just so many of them. Maybe one is a planet, but not all of them. No way.
Well, don't forget when they're launching Starlink satellites, they're potentially putting up 20 plus satellites at a time. And it's something.
Have you seen them though? They look, the way that they move is completely different than this stuff.
No, this looks like I see plenty of satellites here in the Pacific Northwest on a regular basis. And this has the movement speed and looking like it could potentially be a satellite. But, the truth of the matter is we don't know.
Right.
This one goes in the unknown box.
Radar?
What?
They didn't check to see if there was the satellites
there's too many of these objects too closely together to say this could potentially be something on flight radar. But the reality is, the objects that they're showing are really bright to you.
They are, and and maybe there's some that are satellites, but when I've seen the ones that go up, they go up in like a cluster. And when you look at it, it looks kind of like maybe something you see on an alien movie, right? This one just
basically it's
more...
like a train almost. We get all the lights kind of going, all following a certain line. But after a period of time, they go ahead and spread out, and they'll still be moving along because you're filling out the cluster.
Okay. Gotcha.
Tim, Senor, Anonymous Rex, you have your hand up. I was just about to bring something up to talk with you about. Guess not. All right. Now, what did I do with that video? It was the last one I brought up.
Let me see. Do you mind if I break in real quick?
No, not a problem. Go ahead.
Cool. So if I could recommend Star Walk 2, it's a fantastic app that if you're willing to pay for it, you can unlock satellite tracking where you can aim your phone up at what you're looking at and it'll tell you if it's a star or a satellite or rule it out.
Oh,
I use it
wow.
all the time. It's super easy. I think it costs a couple extra bucks maybe to unlock the satellite tracking thing, but it's so cool because you literally aim your phone right up at whatever it is and it'll tell you the exact satellite, which is really interesting information. Or it'll be like a blank space and then you can be like, hey, this is interesting.
And it's available on iOS and Android and everything. It's a great app to go ahead and bring up. Now, since you're up, Tim, I know actually, Laura, you have your hand up. We'll call on you and then we'll bring Tim back to look at something that looks familiar that both of us are going to align with, Tim. Something that was seen over London last night. Oh, she put her hand down. Let's go ahead and bring it up now. Where did that... Go ahead.
I was just going to say real quick, I did see Starlink launched a bunch on Friday from Florida. So Starlink did have, I don't know what day he captured it, but something to consider.
Absolutely. Thank you, Laura. I appreciate that insight. Now, bringing it back into it. Now, in our next piece, we have a story coming from Teal Red Octopus. But this one's pretty good. Multiple orange orbs, or at least we're seeing one, seen over London near Hackney, January 10th. That was yesterday, around 1900 UK time. In the evening. Let's go ahead and bring up this video clip. I'll leave it on loop. There we go. And let's go ahead and click it and tell it to play. Now. Look familiar, Tim? Amy, you there?
Yeah, absolutely. Looks exactly like what you and I were filming over our homes.
You've had this one go by your house. I've seen many of these go by my house. Same kind of movements, same kind of speed, moving across silently, nothing there. And we are playing the audio from this, and it's just kind of booking across the sky. It's the right color, it's the right movement, it's the right pattern. So, on this one, I would vote this is UAP. How would you vote on this one, Tim?
Yeah, I like it. If it's not strobing at all or anything like you and I have witnessed, it's staying static in color. It can be considered an orb. I definitely filmed something similar. I know you did. The one I filmed here, I was probably 150 feet from. It floated at treetops, and it acted kind of like a bubble. But the interesting thing was it was during a rainstorm, fairly heavy rain, and it was traveling against the wind. So my head really wasn't able to wrap around it because it, even though it looked and acted like an orange bubble of light about the size of a basketball, I had no explanation for it. And actually, if you want to look at that video, I have it right on my Anonymous Rex YouTube channel listed here. So I give all the details, the time, the date, the wind speed, and what I captured of them. Yeah, great stuff. This is a good one. I like it.
Yeah. And, I've got an iPhone 12 Pro Max from years ago. I'm sure you've got one that was relatively current back at that time. And it's just something that we're seeing these things in our skies. And this, when we've seen something, and I've seen something like this like 5 or 6 times already here going in front of my house. So it's a regular pattern that these things fly through. And here's the thing, Tim. If there was just one object following this one path of this type, I can guarantee there will be more of them in the future following that same path. Just like the one by you. If you get a camera out there when you're psionics, get it posted, pointing to that direction. Go set up for some sky fishing in some nights. You may catch something like this too again.
Yeah, and it sure is obvious to people that have seen stuff like this. It really stands out. I mean, when you're seeing something other. And this really, when I experienced it, and I know Thomas, when it popped out for you, you're seeing something other. My theory, personally, is that it's, plasma, something potentially natural, if it's not a UFO or whatever that means. But we were talking last night on plasma potentially having intelligence even, because it seems like, people are able to interact with orbs, or orbs seem to have intelligence because they seem curious. Like, I've heard these tales. And like I said, the one that I saw in film acted kind of like a bubble. But in that way, it kind of did almost seem like it had intention. Let's put it that way.
Well, the last one that I recorded here at my house, Tim, as I was getting out there, going and recording it, I even think I sent you pictures and close-ups of it. Something came and whizzed by close to my face, and I thought it was like a big moth or something like that. Going back and looking at the footage, it was actually a relatively small, bright green orb of light that was probably about a couple inches inside, that went and did some unbelievable movements and then whizzed right by me. So as I was trying to record it, it's almost like it sent something down to check me out as I was checking it out.
Yeah, that's hardly a coincidence, in my opinion. That's an occurrence. That's interesting. Yeah.
It all adds up over time, my friend. Would you look at that? We're almost an hour and 15 minutes into the broadcast so far, and I haven't even gotten to trying to recap the stuff from last week yet, because
it's just dragging, going by real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. And there hasn't been a lot of stuff going on in UFO Twitter land, and because let me stop this video. Let me bring this one up from over here, because everybody, Mike, is focused on the apocalyptic fires that are going on the West Coast right now in California.
Yeah, exactly. They're focused on the fireworks show that's been going on the whole time. That's what their attention is on, because it's currently what's in the news cycle. But it'll pass. This isn't going to last.
Yeah. Again, we've got a lot of disclosure coming our way within the next 10 days, Mike, hopefully.
Oh, exactly. We've been waiting for that, and as soon as it comes, we're going to cover it. It's going to be fun.
Oh, I see.
I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I'm looking forward to it as well.
So, you want to recap the week? Well, we covered a lot of what was coming out. And right now, you had all the videos that were lined up in the bookmarks. So what does that leave us?
Well, I've got a bunch of stuff to go ahead and cover here, Mike. If you're busy with Mike's internet router went out at his house today for Wi-Fi, and you've got 4 kids and a wife saying, fix the internet.
Oh, yeah. Plus, I need the internet for the show to keep track of the fun chat.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Last week, you had the hot water heater go out. This week, you've got the router. Oh, my goodness.
It's Murphy's Law in full effect, Tommy.
Oh, you better believe it, my friend. Well,
okay.
We'll have fun with it. Now, looking into this a little bit more, coming to us from Richard Geldrich, someone we follow on Twitter on a regular basis. He calls it out, and I was kind of using his analogies earlier. Admiral John Clown Car Kirby said that sensitive sites, air bases, and nuke plants were being overflown. Next, on looking back on December 16th, the White House, drones not a national security risk, argues Clown Car Kirby. Well, you know what? According to Lou and other people, it is a national security list. So it's something we need to go ahead and take a look at and be very, considerate of, that we've got things going on in the skies that we need to cover. We need to go ahead and investigate. And more importantly, we need to bring out the truth. to the people of the world, right?
Yeah, listen, it's a flight safety risk. It's not just a national security risk. It's a number of things that the government is covering up and lying about.
Oh, God,
it's
yeah.
frustrating.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, Mike. Absolutely. Now, to play a little clip of Tim Burchett last night, let me go ahead and bring this one up next. I'm just going to play them right from the browser. It's a bit easier. Let's get this one up here. Oh, I can probably play it from document guest. Let's get to this one coming to us from UAP James. He's a great source for information on UFO Twitter. UAP James says, Representative Burchett, the drones are still out there, and that's what we've heard, and that's what we've seen. The drones are out there on a regular basis. And actually, before I get to this one, I actually have, where is that at? Get out of there. Let me go ahead and bring up the video from our friend Mike and bring this out here. This is a video that was shared with Lou Elizondo, and this is coming from, I believe, Pennsylvania, near the Jersey border. Let me go ahead and bring this up. And what we've got here, you know, talking about the drones still being out there, here we've got two objects in flight, moving at the exact same speed. You're not going to see, you know, if that, now, our friend actually goes ahead and looks out on a regular basis, and this is not a normal flight pattern, nor did these objects appear on Flight Radar 24. So, you know, we're not getting, stop doing that. We're not getting the coverage of the drones showing up in the news media, but people out there with the right camera and the right gear, as they're looking up, the drones are still out there, aren't they, Mike?
Oh, they absolutely are. Even though mainstream media has died down on its coverage, they're still out there and doing what they've been doing, and the government's still lying about it.
Oh, yeah. Again, we've got 10 more days to get there. It's not too far considering we've had disclosure shut down for the last 4 years. All right, so let me go ahead and bring this one down. Let me get back into the studio over here. Let me shut this one down. All right, back to that clip coming from Representative Tim Burchett from the great state of Tennessee. Let's go ahead and play this clip. Short 40-second one. Let me put on the fair use again, just to be clear. All right, here we go.
Say a submarine of one of our enemies comes up off the coast of North Carolina, but New York, for instance, and they put 50 or so drones in the air, and they might have a nuclear component, they could have a dirty bomb component, they could have a biological entity, and were to fly in. And now they know they can pretty much just fly in over our military, and when these are over military installations, some of these drones, they could fly in without any notice, without anybody firing a shot, literally. And they know they can do that. And so I would warn people, the drones are still out there and they're still flying, but our media is not, for whatever reason, is not covering it anymore. And we better get a grip on it, because that is a component of the next war that we will fight. Say a submarine.
There we go. That's very true. It's a component of the next war, you know, the United States will be involved in, because as we've seen in Ukraine, drones are very effective when you don't have a lot of military people or you don't want to risk their life. You can send them out. You can send them out to the front lines, if not over the front lines, to go ahead and take care of your opponents. Andy, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I'm just going to say what you know, Tim said, Tim Burchett. You know, mainstream media's moved on, like it always does. You know, no matter whether it's the most, you know, disastrous thing in the news, a day or two later, they've moved on to the next newest news story.
Yep.
You know, that's where we're doing. We haven't moved on. We'll still keep chasing, as Tim Burchett does. So, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the drones haven't stopped as far as we're aware. You know, here in the UK, we're hearing more sightings being reported over in Wales. There are other sightings. I don't know. I don't want to steal anybody's thunder. Other places in the UK that I think people are looking into. So, yeah, we'll we'll keep plugging away. We'll keep pushing. So,
yeah. Yeah, we will, Andy. Thank you for that insight, my friend. Now, going ahead and anonymous, Tim, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just wanted to layer on top of what Angie was saying and furthering what Tim Rochette is saying here. And so potentially the reason it left media so quickly is because they feel that they have a resolution or they're trying to control public fear or opinion. But why do you think, other than what I hypothetically put forward, why do you think it left the media so quickly?
Move on to the next big story. Public interest waned. People weren't as interested in the situation, and there's other big stories that they're looking to cover at this point in time. It's almost kind of like when the coverage coming from the mass media fell off the bus, if you want to call it, or fell under the bus, or was thrown under the bus, whatever you want to call it, when they started putting up all the no-fly zones on the East Coast. And as soon as the no-fly zones went up, it's like media coverage was completely shut down for some reason. And I wouldn't have any kind of doubt that if the United States government wanted to shut down the story, we're still in the last days of the Biden administration, which has been an opponent against free speech for the last 4 years.
Plus, like you pointed out earlier, Thomas, to answer Tim's question, the wildfires going on in California right now is the next news cycle that they're covering. And if you check your DM on Twitter, I sent a short video clip that you might want to put on the show. That'll cover that.
All right, let me go ahead and find that one. It's loading. Here we go. All right. Oh yeah, the homeless man in Oh yeah,
California. Oh yeah.
Well, we've got the homeless man in California. This guy looks like he started a small fire, but there was another citizen who was arrested. He had blowtorches. He had incendiary devices, and
oh yeah, it's like a country there in California right now.
Definitely not from the United States, and potentially from Asia or the Middle East.
Right. It's chaos. That the citizens are so frustrated, they're actually trying to burn the rest of the state down to the ground.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. If I go ahead and bring up this video you're just talking about, Mike, let me go ahead and bring this one up and show it. Yeah. Well, they're busy. Oh, my God. There's a fire that's starting, and they're worried about taking the guy away, not going and getting their fire extinguisher out of the back of the truck. Now, I have to say, are we sure this is in homeless man in California has been arrested on suspicion of starting a brush fire at Pioneer Park in Azusa, California. Well, put out the fire before it spreads and turns into something big. My God.
Right. But that's common sense, Thomas. It doesn't seem like they're exercising a lot of that currently over there.
They got what they elected. Let's just say that.
Listen, you're right. No argument about that. And now they're reaping what they sowed with who's in office.
Yeah. And how dare you go ahead and talk against our elected officials? Well, I'm thinking they're doing all the talking themselves.
Oh, actions speak louder than words, Thomas.
Oh,
Look
yes.
at the actions going on currently. My God.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unbelievable.
Ed Brown, you have your hand up, my friend?
Yeah, I do, Thomas. I was just going to agree with you and Mike both on your analysis of that answer for Tim. And we've talked about that. You know, the news cycle is constantly moving, it's constantly changing. But then you brought up a very good point, and that is it could be that the media is also getting pressure from the government that, that's enough. Let's kind of calm it down.
Yeah.
Now, before I give a bunch of terrorists a bunch of ideas, we'll point out that is a good way to really stir things up. If you had 1,000, I don't know if I even ought to say this, but it's common sense. If you had 1,000 terrorists to set 1,000 fires simultaneously, it would be game over.
You need one terrorist who has a bunch of incendiary devices that are set up on cell phones so they have coverage for what's going on. All they have to do is go around and plant them over a period of time, wait for the winds to kick up, and then press the button, and poof, you've got something going on even worse than what we're seeing now. Right, Ed?
Oh, absolutely. And that's something we hope we never see. But when you stop and think about the damage that could be done to this country by people that have crossed over the border with the intent of harming us, then it really can be pretty frightening as to what the future might be. Not just fire, but any one of a number of different types of attacks. Even when we were talking about potential for maybe a dirty bomb or a suitcase nuclear bomb, we were a few weeks ago talking about that subject. Doesn't matter what weapon you use, it wouldn't take much to create an awful lot of damage in this country.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Not that one. I'm trying to find I had a video up from a couple days ago that I wanted to go ahead and share. I just got to go ahead and find it. Where in the hell is it? No, it's not there, not there, not there. Guide hours, what the hell did they capture? Give me a second here. No, it's not that one. This is probably from Monday or so. Carl Nell, Zero Doubt. No. I'll find it. Either way, I've got a short clip here going of Lou Elizondo going ahead and talking about oh, that's right. We covered it live. I didn't record it. That's what I was like. Where did the video go that I showed on Monday where Lou Elizondo was talking with on Cuomo?
Right. It was live.
Yeah, it was live. That's why I don't have the video downloaded. I had the DVR up. I paused it. It's not even a DVR. It's an application on the Mac that literally is a TV tuner that I can bring up at any time. And I just knew Lou was going to be on that show. So let me just go ahead at this point, call on Ollie, and then I'll bring up that video, at least a click of it, where Lou's being asked, or actually Cuomo's saying, about Lou being potentially the UAP czar, saying, I heard they're asking you. In other words, in the conversation before they went live, Mike, you know how that goes.
Oh, I know exactly how that goes. You're right, Thomas.
Absolutely. Yep. And that'll be wonderful. Absolutely. Ali Alvian, you have your hand up? Welcome from Sweden.
Good evening. I just, as a Swede and a Finnish couple here, when I see the fires going on in California, for us it's kind of, what the hell reaction when we see how the circumstances for this to happen. It's so obvious. Because if I saw a video from the state forest in California, and they stack their forest just as you do when you're going to start a campfire.
Oh yeah.
In the bottom you take some
kindling.
It's more kindling. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have the bigger woods to burn.
And usually it's wet this time of year in California, but right now with what they're dealing with, it's dry and the winds are up to 100 miles an hour, and all it takes is one little spark to start a fire and it spreads like hence wildfires.
Yeah. Yeah, and for me it's bewildering that the authorities and the forest keepers here that they don't prepare, because here in Finland and Sweden, of course, we have fire highways going through different areas, and there's a couple of purposes. Of course, number one is to see that it doesn't spread as much as if it's not there. And the other thing is that you get through to fight the fire as well. We're using these highways.
Well, in the United States, Ali, we had something called the Boy Scouts. I think they're still around. They're beyond their pedophile scandals that brought them down at this point. They're still around. But their slogan was, be prepared. And that's why we bring up our next sponsor of our show, Avi Lube.
Yeah.
No, be prepared in case there's a fire, my friends. All right, let's go ahead and bring this up. Go ahead.
Yeah, but just another comment. I looked at the election map from the U.S. and of California especially, and I said you have a small, very blue ribbon just at the coast, just the nearest the coast. They are the bluest districts in California. And and the karma now is, well, you get what you woke for.
Yeah. In another another thing they've been saying on Twitter, you know what DEI now stands for? Didn't earn it.
No, that's true.
And actually, Mark Zuckerberg has said they've ended all DIA activities at Facebook now, as he tries to go ahead and come back and say, "Oh yeah, we're not gonna censor people anymore." My goodness. Let's get back to this. Let's get back to UFOs. Coming back to good old fashioned Lou Elizondo. Let me get this up here and show it. Here we go. All right. Lou Elizondo to serve in Trump administration. Oh, we've been saying that one for a while. Cuomo, I heard they're asking you. On that note, let me go ahead and bring up this little video clip here, and I'm going to disappear for a minute. And let's go ahead and play this. And I should be back by the time this is done. Here we go, folks. Let's listen to this one.
Elizondo, are you going to work for the administration?
Can I buy a vowel, Chris?
You know you want to know, Tracy. You know you want to know, too. Don't pretend like you're just waiting your turn. Look, there's been a lot of talk, and I got to tell you, Luis, it buoys the spirits of many, me included. You know what you're talking about. Your service record is impeccable. You care, and I've heard they're asking you. Is there anything that you can share at this point? And don't pretend you have a communication problem and that you can't get the signal straight.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you, Chris.
Yes, hey, I knew it.
I've always made it very clear that my loyalty is to the United States government and to the American people. If my country asks me to put my boots back on and serve, I will do so. I am in the process of making some recommendations to some individuals that hopefully will help add some clarity to not just my old issue, which was UAPs, but now the drone issue. Unfortunately, our government is woefully behind this topic, and as we're seeing now in Ukraine and Russia, drones are being weaponized and used quite effectively as weapons.
There we go, Mike. Your thoughts on this one? As I need to step away again. Are you still with us, Mike?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let me. What are your thoughts on this one? As I step away for a second.
Well, okay, yeah, we've covered this earlier, and nothing has really changed. If Lou is going to be running the show for the government on the executive branch side for UAP, I think we have a chance at finally getting some real information out from the executive branch that has been covering this up the entire time from the government, and the legislative branch is unable to get to the truth. So I think this will be the first time that we actually will be able to see if things are going to come forward that we want and need in regards to disclosure. So hopefully it goes according to plan. The jury is still out because a lot can happen from now until then. But hopefully, once the new administration is in place and we see how serious they are at moving forward on disclosure, at that point, we'll be able to see if Lou is put in a position that he was basically, it sounds like this position was made for him.
Oh, gosh, yes.
About time. He really could be put to good use, I think, if they get him in that position.
Oh, and then some, my friend. What did I do with the chat? Let me see if I can find this right now. I know it's here somewhere. Where did I actually shut the chat down. Okay, let me go ahead. It's not there. It's not there. Let me go ahead and just do this. Pop out the chat here. Bring it back up again. Go to live. All right, let me go ahead and get this. All right, so what I want to do next, Mike, is I want to bring up a survey really quick here. I want to see what our audience thinks.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do that. Let's say this now. Start a poll. The question is, Lou Elizondo will be the UAP CZAR in the pump admin. True? False? Let's go ahead and too long. Let me do this. Is something wrong? Did I say too many things? Start the poll. All right, folks, let's go ahead and see where this poll is going to take us. What are your thoughts? Lou Elizondo Will he be the UAP czar in the Trump administration? Coming up, we'll get to you in 1 second, Tim. Let's go ahead and bring up this document here. Hey, Google, set a timer for 1 minute, please.
1 minute.
There we go. We've got 58 seconds left to get there. Tim, since your hand was up, you were there. Don't put it down. What are your thoughts? Do you think Lou Elizondo will be our UAP czar?
Oh, I think he will. I hope he assembles a team of people around him that includes scientists, maybe someone from the media that's going to be reporting for him or alongside him, so that he can secure transparency with that program to the public and at least convey things. And with that position, I hope he also digs into the big problem that we have with the way things are kind of labeled when information comes in, a video. We don't need it to remain confidential. We need things to have a label of transparency. We don't need to know the ways and means, you know?
But I think with the trifecta of the person who we've got going ahead and taking up the new director of national intelligence, which is going to be Tulsi Gabbard. We also have Pete Hegseth, that is going to be the new head of the DOD, Mr. Anti-Woke himself. We also have the former director of national intelligence, and the guy's saying, yeah, we need to bring out this truth. We need to bring it to the people. Who's going to be the head of the CIA? Then we have RFK Jr., and who's going to be the new head of, well, he's going to be in the administration, whether it's the Department of Health or wherever he is. He also said he wanted to bring out the truth on UFOs. And who was the last person that we had that I'm forgetting about right now? Oh, yeah, the new Kash Patel, who's going to be the head of, what do you call it? Head of the FBI. And he's a no bullshit kind of guy. And he wants to start a new declassification department where they're going to start declassifying things that have been overly classified every single day going forward. So our audience says 62% saying yes, 38% saying no. I think the yeses, the trues have it on this one, Tim.
Yeah, but remember what Lou said when he first made his way to the public venue, that he's not a UFO guy. He's not a UAP guy.
But I think that's changed now.
I believe that too, but let's also consider potentially that he's going to put people around him that are.
Yes.
Right?
Well, but he is. Think about all the information Lou's been bringing out. We have the book Eminent that's out there that he authored. There's a lot of stuff, whether he wants to say, I don't want to be the leader. The truth of the matter is he is the leader of the disclosure movement right now by default, de facto, whatever you want to call it. Do you think so?
I can't disagree with that. I definitely can't disagree with that. He's been representing this topic pretty solidly, and people have been looking to him for answers. He's super well connected. But I just always think back to the conversations that he had on your show with us, what his training is in, and how he applied some of that training to the UFO community.
Okay, Tim, really quick.
So
You've
yes,
I'm Tim.
okay with him doing that research before he immerses himself.
Right.
So I do understand.
Quick thing, Tim.
Yeah.
You had a job running an advertising company or advertising production studio 10 years ago, right?
Yep.
You're no longer in that job, right?
I actually just started doing it again, but yes.
Okay. But up until recently, you didn't have that job. You still don't have that job. But the skills and the things that you learned back then in the past are always part of who you are today, no matter what.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood.
So
and
the
I'm
same
applying those skills to everything I do.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. Great points, my friend. I appreciate it. Daniel, you have your hand up, my friend.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I've been listening to a lot of the past presidents when they've been talking about UAPs, including Trump, and I'm not really sure that he actually has an idea what's going on for sure. I wouldn't bet. I mean, I would bet that the Biden administration is probably keeping them in the dark. And it's probably pissing them off. That's why he's been saying. Well, he's probably saying, "You're not telling me anything. What do you mean you don't know anything?" You know, and I think that's probably pissing him off, and that's the reason why he's telling people he's going to, give the answer the next day. But I mean, if the Biden administration doesn't know what's going on, then where are we at? And a long time ago, Obama, he was on a talk show, and he under the last thing under his breath, he says, "Yeah, they maintain strict control." He was talking about the aliens.
Yeah.
He was talking, and I mean, maybe they're afraid to release stuff because
yeah.
Donald Trump had his chance to do it, so maybe he wasn't read in as much as we think he might have been. And maybe they were keeping it from him, and he found that out later on, and he's really pissed off about it.
That's always a possibility, because when you have someone like this who's looking over your shoulder all the time, preventing you from bringing out the truth and lying to the public about what's going on, it makes life a lot more difficult, doesn't it, Daniel?
Oh, absolutely. And Mayorkas, my God, I wouldn't believe him if he told me I was on fire and I was smoking. I mean, Jesus. I mean, can you imagine he was in the military? I'm a Marine veteran. Embarrassing.
Yeah.
That dude's embarrassing. So I don't know. Basically, I just don't know if I think he set himself up to find the answers, and he's probably going to have to fire a lot of people to get the correct answers.
Absolutely.
And hopefully he does.
Absolutely. I hear you, my friend. And actually, Freezerman71, you have your hand up next.
Thanks, Thomas. Also, don't forget, Radcliffe is now in charge of the CIA, and he probably will help quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
The other thing is, maybe Andy can chime in on this, but I heard that's possibility that the UK is going to be pulling out of the Five Eyes. So I don't know if that would play any role in it.
Personally, I've not heard anything about that. So, yeah.
Well, apparently it's Keir Starmer's really upset, and he's threatening to pull out of the Five Eyes agreement.
Oh,
so I don't know if that would have any impact on disclosure or not, because I don't think the United States shares anything with the UK.
Yeah, I don't think it'll massively matter. It tends to be we share information on to America. Whether America shares much back to us is another story. But Keir's not a happy person. Poor Keir. Got to feel sorry for him. If it's one news story, it's another. So yeah, we'll wait and see on that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Andy. I appreciate your thought on that. Tia, go ahead.
I think we share quite a bit with the UK, personally. And I think that Trump knows a lot more. I think people forget he started a Space Force. And all this started coming out under him. I just think that he doesn't believe the CIA or the FBI. So he's not going to take what they say and run with it either. And this time he's coming in with a lot more knowledge of who to trust and who not to trust. So he's got these big hitters with him this time that know where to go. So I don't think he's as ignorant as people make him out to be on the subject.
Yeah.
He did make Space Force. I mean, why did he do that? Obviously, because, something's up there,
Yeah.
That's
I
my
hear you,
opinion.
Tia. Great answers, my friend. Ed, what are your thoughts?
Well, every once in a while I try to tell a joke that I've got to tell you in advance so that you'll know the humor is coming. But I'll tell you, Andy, if I was you, I'd be a little worried that maybe Trump will try and make the UK the 53rd state. At 51, it's going to be Canada. Freezer man, you're in trouble.
52 would be Greenland.
Greenland, yeah. So you guys get to be 53.
There'd be less taxes.
Yay.
I don't think he's smiling very much or laughing in the background, though, Thomas.
I gotcha. A good one, Ed. It's a joke, but it's also seriousness. Annie, your thoughts? Or lack of thereof. Oh, look, they cut off Andy's internet protocol at this point.
Yeah,
he's lagging.
We'll wait. I'm lagging. Yeah. They've cut me off. They've got to me.
Exactly. Absolutely. Thank you very much. Ali, you have your hand up.
Yeah, concerning the UK leaving the Five Eyes. There's an old saying here in not only in Sweden but since the 80s that the MI5 and MI6 in England, they're the brain, and the CIA is the muscle. So if the English intelligence, if they leave the Five Eyes and the CIA, it's not like to shoot yourself in the foot. It's like to shoot yourself in the head.
Yeah.
So I think that will never, never happen. They won't leave that kind of cooperation.
Yeah. I hear you, my friend. Thank you for that feedback. Just to let the audience know before I call on Lord McCormick, I do have a survey up. It's something that's there because I've seen some opportunities for us to fire up the live stream when there's no UFO news to cover breaking stories like the LA fires, the Las Vegas bomber, the NOLA bomber, and Disclosure Tonight fashion where we've got our finger on the pulse of what's happening. What do you think? Should we cover more stuff like this or not? So right now, Mike, are you surprised we've got 67% of our audience, or 68, saying yes?
Oh, I'm not surprised at all. You and I have been talking about this to the audience for a long time now.
Yeah.
We cover a lot of things that the mainstream news doesn't. We pick up the slack for them, and we cover most of the news topics out there. So, so the audience agrees, which is what we've been doing.
And I'd have to do something different from a UFOs alert, but I'd have to do a breaking news alert, something to that extent. But yeah,
exactly.
I think we're seeing an overwhelmingly audience who's more than 70% saying yes, we should cover it, because I've been seeing these things, thinking it's an opportunity to reach out to our audience, because these are national things that are going on that I know a lot of people are going to be interested in.
Well, look at it like this, Thomas. With what we know is going to be upcoming for 2025 this year with the new administration,
right?
We're going to have a lot of different things to cover and talk about to the public and the audience that go way beyond UAP or any of the topics that we normally cover. So,
we may have to start up a second channel for that, a second Disclosure Tonight channel to cover some of the stories, because I know there is a heavily partisan people out there, but, this is where the United States is going. These are events that are happening in the United States, but globally for that matter.
Internationally. Why we have our audience on Saturday. We cover things going on in Europe and the UK on a regular basis. We could do a second channel. We could do a second show. We do it here anyway. Might as well expand.
Or keep it home, keep it where everyone knows to go, and we'll just put something up with the Disclosure Tonight logo to let people know what we're actually covering.
Right. Which is the news that the mainstream news is not covering, and they should. As independent news journalists, we'll pick up the slack for them and cover it for the audience.
Yeah.
Like we've been doing. And we'll just continue to do what we've been doing.
75% Mike saying yes, 26% saying no. I appreciate the audience on this one. 73 saying yes. How about that? Let's go ahead on that point. Go ahead and welcome in Lord McCormick. Yeah, or not welcome. Let's call in Lord McCormick. You have your hand up, my friend. We're just talking about Lou.
How are you? Oh, yeah. Actually, I was just going to chirp in my penny's worth on the special relationship between Britain and the US. I think we're always going to have a link because of obviously our shared history, shared language, culturally very similar. But I think that in regards to the administration and strategically, in the 70s and the 80s, in the height of the Cold War, Britain was considered essentially a huge aircraft carrier. And I think that now the global shift in diametrics means that we just don't have as much influence politically, militarily, and also maybe in the plans for the US sort of like strategic defense policy moving forward. Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if there is a serious killing of relations between ourselves, our administration, or our clowns, and your clowns.
Yeah. Well, maybe you'll get King Charles to speak up and call for a new election. He has the ability to do it. Let's see if he can actually do that, because there's a lot of distrust going on with the Keir Starmer administration right now, and there's a lot of just dirty laundry. There's no way they're going to be able to hide this stuff, my friend.
Yeah, we've got an invisible king at the moment. Our monarch's just invisible, and a lot of people also fail to realize is that you guys are citizens. We're subjects.
Yes.
And
Your subject's under a lot more. You don't have freedom of speech in the UK. You know, while the freedom of speech was pretty much shut down in a lot of different ways on social media over the last 4 years in the United States, you've got 5 years potentially ahead of you of censorship 10 times over, 100 times over what we've got going on, because in some places they're locking people up for like 22 months, which is crazy.
Well, our prisons are overloaded. And I don't know if you picked up on, you guys got this, it crossed over the pond, but they actually had to release a lot of very dangerous individuals back into the community.
Yeah. And that, what was the reason? To take all the
things up on
all the Facebook and Twitter criminals and have space to lock them up versus the real criminals versus the people who are standing up against the tyrannical government.
Yeah, every day it's like we're inching closer to I've said this to my friends at work the other day. I said 1984 was meant to be it's not meant to be an instruction manual. It was meant to be a warning.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hopefully we all love people in the United Kingdom. Again, it's not the people who are there that are causing the problems. It's your leadership. And we can see that, oh my God, our heart goes out to everybody in the United Kingdom from everyone in the United States. Andy, you have your hand up, my friend.
Yeah, I'm probably going to not be on here again because I'll probably be doing like a life sentence.
Then don't say it then.
Charlie's not going to do anything. He's too busy hugging trees.
Yeah, there you go. Good, nothing bad. Everyone loves a good tree. And they do have a lot of trees and forests in all the land that they own in the United Kingdom. Isn't the monarchy the biggest landowner in the United Kingdom, Andy?
Yes, that and then the church. What a surprise. I believe it's the church.
But didn't the church, the leader of the church in the United Kingdom just resign because of pedophilia scandals?
Well, yeah, he certainly resigned. Yep. So, yeah, Justin Welby, I believe his name is.
Yeah.
Leader of not that I'm baptized into it, but not that I'm a follower of the Church of England. But yes, I believe he did a runner.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks back.
Unfortunately, so my friend. Tia Maria, you have your hand up.
I was just gonna say that Keir Starmer, he's on his way out. I don't think he's gonna. He'll be lucky if the people of England don't bring him in front of everybody like it was like 1800 or however. So he let all them people out knowing that they were child rapists to put grandmas in jail for Facebook posts. So, I mean,
I don't know if you've seen one of the advertisements they had for people for moving to a different part of the UK. It was all little UK girls saying, hey, come on and resettle here, newcomers to the United Kingdom. It's just a sad situation we're dealing with. Now,
and they were girls from, they were people that these little girls were from.
Little white girls, let's be honest.
Yes, they were. And they needed to be protected. They were vulnerable. There were reasons why they were vulnerable. So I think every man in England is going to bring him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's why the Reform Party has eclipsed so many of the other parties in people joining the Reform Party on that note. Now, heading back to UFOs for a second here, I want to go ahead and cover another story that came out that we haven't hit yet. Yes, we have Representative Van Drew saying that the House Aviation Subcommittee member says the drones are not a private U.S. company, pointing back towards the drones being from the United States itself. Let me go ahead and get this video up here for us all to play. This comes to us from a Fox News story from yesterday or early this morning. Here we go, folks. Let's play this one.
This is what President-elect Trump says that he's going to do on day one about the drone situation. Listen.
I thought the government knew what was happening with these drones over New Jersey. There were some by Bedminster.
I don't know. They're over Bedminster a lot, so I can imagine. I'm going to give you a report on drones about one day into the administration, because I think it's ridiculous that they're not telling you about what's going on.
Okay, he's saying 1 day into the administration, that would be on the 21st, not on the first day of the administration, because he's going to be busy for hours signing executive orders. Here we go.
With the drones.
Amazing. Do you know what's going on with the drones?
President Trump is spot on. Real quickly, here's the deal. And you know, I was very out early with this, and people really, when I say people, some of the liberal media were giving me a hard time. These are not hobby drones. These are not a company or a corporation in the United States that is doing this and testing prototypes. It is either one of two things. It is our own government, and they're lying, and they're covering up, and it's an example of their stupidity because they're doing a real bad job, or it's a foreign entity in a foreign country, which is even scarier. Know this. I'm on the aviation subcommittee. We are a full decade behind in drone technology. Iran has 3 drone ships that are enable drones to take off or land on these ships. I'm not saying it's Iran. It could be anything, but I believe it's probably our own government. I hope it is, because if it is not our own government and we didn't take them down to study them and find who they are, it's wrong. In any event, it is disrespectful to Congress and disrespectful to the American people that they're lying.
Really quickly, Congressman, just as a follow-up, we got to run here, but when you were talking about what you said in the past, it got cut. Didn't you say it was a foreign power? Did you say, I believe if my memory serves, you said Iran and a mothership off the coast?
Yes.
And now you're saying
there could be a possibility. There could be a possibility that Iran, who has 3 drone ships, for weeks, one of them left the port of Iran. We don't know where it was.
Right.
I don't know if it was there,
it's more
but
likely
I brought
us.
it out because it's a big deal.
But to be clear, now you think it's more likely us?
I think it's more likely us. I don't know for sure. President Trump's going to let us know. He's the president. He's going to be the president, and he better get that. I know he will get that information. They have a responsibility to give it to him.
How about that? We go ahead and look at this. And yes, we're just days away from the Trump administration. You know what? I have a good feeling that we've got some good information heading our ways, and then more importantly, the truth heading our ways. Wow, what a great show. What a great opportunity to hang out with friends. Happy Saturday, everybody. Hopefully you've had a good time. Any questions, last questions for anybody in the back? Any questions from the audience? Put your questions in all caps and we can go ahead and capture them. I think we're okay for this point. I think we've hit everything out of the ballpark. Mike, how you doing on your side?
I'm doing well, Thomas. It was a hell of a show. And I like the fact that the audience is behind you and I covering more of mainstream news for the public.
Well, it's breaking mainstream news, and we have so many different feeds. We can go ahead and track this stuff as it's happening, that we're ahead of mainstream media by hours at that point because they're so slow.
Not only are they slow, they also choose to obfuscate and not cover a lot of the information that the public has a right to know. So we go beyond that and we provide all necessary information for our audience and for the public. But we've been doing it. It's not something that we're considering starting fresh for the first time. Like you pointed out earlier in the show, Matt Ramone. We talked to Matt live during the East Palestine train derailment. It was a huge national disaster, and he became a part of the show. He came join the audience. So we've covered mainstream news for a very long time. We would just do this now, covering more than just UAP disclosure.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to, there's been a lot of new people that have joined the channel that haven't been around in the past. We have a lot of great new people in the chat, a lot of great new people in the back, and I just wanted to go ahead and do a pulse check of our audience to see what they think. And overwhelmingly, they voted, Mike, for us to go ahead and cover what's happening beyond just disclosure. So when things are happening, expect us to go ahead and fire up the show. Expect me to fire up the show, and we'll see who gets there to go ahead and cover this, right, Mike?
Exactly. That's exactly right. We've been doing it. We'll continue to do it, but now we'll do it in an expanded way.
Oh, yeah.
So that people will get full coverage of the news that'll be well-rounded.
Yeah.
It's the right move. And now that we have a new audience, we need to do it on their behalf.
Oh, you better believe it, my friend, on that note. What a great show. What a great opportunity to hang out with friends. If I could, I want to go ahead and thank all the people that have been in the audience tonight. Where is that at? I know it's here somewhere. All right, I want to go ahead and thank everybody for coming out to tonight's episode of Disclosure Tonight. More importantly, I want to thank all of our friends that have been part of the chat tonight, because the chat is where it's at. Who am I talking about? I want to thank Abby Raxa, Andy W, Anonymous 24/7, Anton Ghost. Badger's been here from Bothell, as well as Banana Bowie, Cindy Fail Holler. Corey's been here along with Dana H. Daniel's been around along with DEFCON 1. I want to thank Delta Echo, Dirty Dancer 8, Elizabeth Brown, Ernie. Thanks for coming out, Ernie. We're happy to Bert. I want to thank also Exploratory Unitarian Assembly, Enoch the Witness, as well as Fellstrong Greyhawk, shorts for short attention spans. Also, Pink Floyd, Firefly, two of the people who are actually say some of the most things before the show starts. Franz DeWitt. Also want to thank Gainer Andrews, Glocks and Grippers, Gray Hair Discoveries, Gray Jedi, Hemigod's been here the entire show. Also want to thank, someone's a what a Gotholic, whatever it is. I want to thank you for coming out. That name is just too much to try and pronounce. Also want to go ahead. Wait a minute. We got a super chat coming in from J-Cat. Holy cow. First super chat of the night. Thank you, J-Cat. Appreciate the super chat, my dear lady. Also want to thank Jeff Carrero, Jeff Pearson, Joey Stoner, John McLean, John Smith, John Pilgrim, Johnny UFOs. A lot of Johns here tonight. What is this? A bust? Is this a bust, Mike? We have all the Johns coming out.
There you go. For the weekend, Saturday night.
Oh, they've been out on the evening. My God, we've got all the Johns. That's true. I want to thank Kane Northup, Kathy, Katrina, Kelly Barote, and her piercing blue eyes. And see, I told you guys, she does have piercing blue eyes. Also want to thank King Bull, Clipper, Lori G, Lucky 81 Jewel. Man's been here along with Marcus Mandel, Mary, Matt Williams. Michael Damak has been here along with Mick, Mimi 8, Moon Pie, Mr. C, Mr. Joey B, two misters along the way. Also want to thank Nancy Kuzmano, Nicholas Urich. Niles Guy's been here along with Oatley 2006, Paul Damon, Peggy and her South Florida friends. That would include Crockett and Tubbs and good old Steve. Can't forget Steve ever. Also want to thank Priscilla, Rainstorm Hunter, Roland Gibbs, Rude Panda. Sam's been here along with Space Coast Flights. Stephen Forbes, Steve Leap. Sully's been here along with Tallywhacker. Ty Grail, Toxic Revenger, True Seeker, Two Heads, 666, and Yankee 58 Mike. We've had a whole audience of people hanging out, having a great time all night tonight.
I know. It's encouraging to see that for the work that you and I do.
Yeah.
So we're going to do more of it. We're going to give them more of what they want, and it's going to be bigger and better, and it's going to be fun.
We have the technology, we have the pipeline, and we have potentially the time to do it.
Oh, yeah, but we'll juggle like we usually do.
In between the puppy piles, my friend.
Oh, you ain't kidding. And in between the disasters, yeah, we'll get it done.
All right, and I also can't forget our friends in the back who've been with us tonight. Oh, wow, it's too loud. Turn that down. Also want to thank our friends who have been in the back. Alice W., thank you, my dear lady, for bringing out the videos you shared today of the orbs in Florida.
Thank you, Tom. It's a great show. I'm really excited about you expanding your repertoire there.
Well, we try to cover things that are happening, and you were like, should I even be in the back? And I'm like, yes, you should be in the back. And then the same day you asked that question, bam, you had stuff that says, yes, you should be here. And I will say it again, I appreciate the questions you have because you represent a great percentage of our audience.
Well, thank you, Thomas. I appreciate it, and I like being here.
Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of our community. I also want to thank Andy W. from Bristol. Thanks for coming out, my friend.
My pleasure, Thomas. Yeah, and thanks everybody for joining us tonight.
Oh.
Be safe, and we'll see you soon.
Andy, we haven't done this. Cheers, my friend.
Oh, I've drunk it already. It's
well,
gone,
empty cup. There you go, my friend. Clink. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it.
It's gone.
There we go.
It's cold by Andy. He has to keep warm somehow, Thomas.
Oh, absolutely.
But the only fun we get here now.
Yeah. Also want to thank Anonymous Rex. Tim, thanks for coming in.
You bet. Thanks for having me on. It's been fun.
Yes. Also want to thank Daryl Zernick. Thanks for that story today. Can't wait to see if you can find something from the actually the story from the stuff going on in Florida. More importantly, hopefully you can find some of the air traffic controller audio clips.
Yeah, thank you for playing that. And I looked. It looks like the feed was not recorded on that day. Well, that's just the first attempt. We'll find out.
Yes, absolutely, my friend. Also want to thank Ed Brown. Thanks for coming out, my friend, Ed.
It was good being with you tonight, Thomas. And you and Mike, I think you hit the nail on the head with the format for the future. I really like the idea of expanding the options and covering what's really.
Yeah.
The only thing that we need to worry about, and also I want to point out, and I've been your cheerleader, a couple of times, point out that there's no place anywhere on the internet or on network news that you can go and find a consolidated version of what's going on other than here on Disclosures Tonight. It's the best place to go.
Thank you, Ed.
I used to watch television news all day, and it takes all day to catch what you get here in 2 hours. So
yes.
It's really great.
Absolutely.
And I want to tell you, Andy, and all you other guys that are worried about what you're saying might be recorded. We are sticking our neck out, so if men in black come to our door and knock, we'll understand what's going on. They're coming to get us.
Oh, look at this. We got Mocha. She hears place and she wants to cook. Come on, Mocha. Come on, get up. Come on.
We appreciate it, Ed, for the support. And I like the points you made earlier about California. You were right. And for you being here with us, that's why Thomas and I do this. For people like yourself and for every one of our audience members that come to join us and support what we do. We're very thankful and grateful, and you've been a great part of that, Ed. Appreciate your input.
Thank you. Mutual Admiration Society is meeting right after this meeting.
Absolutely, it will.
That's where the after chat is where it's at. Also want to thank Laura Campbell. Thanks for coming out today, Laura.
Thanks, Thomas. The best thing about your news show is it won't have any pharmacy commercials.
Thank you very much. We will not support the pharmacy, the actual pharmaceutical companies, my friend. Also, oh God, who's left? Ali Alvian, thanks for your questions today.
Yeah, thank you. And it's always a privilege to be here, Thomas. And when it comes to be focused even on other issues, with the UAP, we have the same problems with a lot of other questions that we get help to see through the smoke and mirrors in the mainstream media and from our governments. And I think that's what we have in common with other big events, news events.
Yes.
Yeah, and also the back chat here, it's very nice and encouraging to see a lot of very competent individuals, serious ones, participating in and contributing here. Thank you all, guys.
Well, thank you, Ali. Appreciate you being around and part of the community. I also want to thank Matt Ramon. Thanks for coming out today, Matt.
Hey, no problem. If it wasn't for you covering different news things that are happening around the world, I wouldn't be here. So I'm a firm believer on what you're doing with that. I think everybody should be in the know and understand that the government is working in many different ways to discredit good people that are our neighbors and our friends. And I encourage as much as you guys as you can to come into the back chat and sit down and have a conversation with us. If you're scared, just hit the link and come on through.
And we're not afraid to call out this troll for who he is. Oh, I'm talking about Stephen Greer, my friend, but thank you. I appreciate that, Matt.
No problem, brother.
And last person, Tia Maria, thanks for coming out today, and thanks for your questions. It's been very poignant, my dear lady. Well,
Thank you, Thomas. It's always a pleasure.
Absolutely. And getting back to the rut of the situation, Mike, great to have you here. Hopefully your internet is back up and running again.
Not yet. I will be working on that after the show.
There we go.
Hopefully by the next show, we will be up and running again.
Absolutely. As we usually say, Ali, got to wait to present at this point. Let's remove that. There we go. Mike, as we usually say at the end of every episode of Disclosure Tonight, eyes open, no fear, be safe, everyone, right? Ali, come back, but you can't present stuff while we're still showing, my friend. Eyes open, no fear, be safe, everyone, but
Go back to Party City where you belong.
Absolutely. We love you, everybody. Come back now here. See you soon. Bye-bye.